Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot for April 11th. I hope you had a really good holiday weekend. So just prior to the weekend, there was a lot of chatter going on about Clarence Thomas because, he is a man of high morals and integrity. And then Lindsey Graham doing the crying thing that looked more like terror than fear than as opposed to sadness. So I want to take a look at both of those. Before I do, let me just take a moment to say thank you so very much for spending some of your time with me. I really do appreciate it. I just really am enjoying the interacting with my Soulprint community. And so thank you so very, very much for being here. I'm very grateful. I am currently scheduling readings the week of the 24th. Like next week. So if anybody is interested in a private reading, the information is in the drop box below. Just send me a quick email and I will send you a reply. Okay. So let's take a look at Clarence Thomas, shall we? Let's see what he has to say for himself or what the cards have to say about him. Clarence Thomas, my goodness. But this is all part of the process, right? And you got to remember that, right? This is part of the how the old crumbles away is there's exposure, right? They get exposed for the things that they're doing that really aren't, I think that the way the vast majority of people believe that they should be behaving or conducting themselves. And so this is part of that tearing down what no longer works. And certainly a Supreme Court where the justices are bound by no rules or regulations, they can just simply do and be whatever, that needs to stop. It just simply does. You know what? This is the thing. There's just too much money that is involved with U.S., just the whole U.S. system, right? Whether it's politicians or judges, lobbyists, whatever it is, there's just way too much money floating around. And, people are susceptible to those kinds of big gifts, etc. All right, here we go. Let's take a look at Clarence, shall we? This is on the bottom. Interesting, eh? All righty. Clarence Thomas trajectory, Clarence Thomas trajectory, Clarence Thomas trajectory. Okay, here we go. Let's start off with the Fool. So, his actions are foolish, right? He thinks he's above it all. He believes that he is untouchable. And to be perfectly fair, as much as we may not like it, he's not wrong because so far he really has been untouchable. So there's definitely a sense of I can do what I want, how I want, when I want, because no one should dare question me or ask, what goes on. I have no reason to have to respond or react or listen basically to anybody. What's interesting is right after that is the Queen of Pentacles. And so this is curious because it's making me wonder actually about the role his wife plays. And certainly she is the beneficiary of these amazing trips and yacht visits and island visits and whatever else. But It feels in some ways as if he, and it's not that he isn't his own person. He is his own person. I don't really get the feeling that she rules the roost, but I do get the feeling that she can make her needs, wants, demands, and they're all connected to a pentacle, of course, quite forcefully. So he's starting to feel the walls closing in. There's just been too much, right? I mean, first of all, there was the wife and the rally, and then the bus, and you know, the nonsense that's been going on since Roe v. Wade. There's just a lot of that real arrogance coming from him, but he's starting to feel as if that invincibility he had by being on the Supreme Court may not continue to hold and protect him. This is about money. It was always going to be about money that got him in trouble, and it will be. Whether it was this particular grouping of money or another, there is a great deal of pressure that he is feeling. Ultimately, he has the Five of Cups, so ultimately, he will be disappointed and saddened, and there are going to be losses for him. That's followed by the Seven of Swords. So again, this idea of almost trying to sneak away, take what he could get while he could get it and move on. I don't know. Followed by the Death card. So he has taken it to a place and a level where I don't actually think he's going to recover. Now, do I think that that's going to happen in the next couple months? Probably not. But I do believe that it is going to ultimately, not only is he going to be remembered by history as, frankly, a really corrupt justice, but almost one that can be sort of manipulated. So that's where it's looking like for him. Is this end going to come for him? Yeah, it is. I am being told that there is going to be a space opened up on the Supreme Court because of a sudden or unexpected passing of, I don't know who. It's a Republican because it's going to help balance the courts. I don't know who, but it feels as if sometimes in the next almost like 3 to 6 months, there may very well be somebody who either passes while on court or has to retire early because of illness. So that's the story for him right now. I want to take a look now at Lindsey Graham. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. I wonder if he's wiped up his tears by now. So what I want to know is what's behind this, like what is going on in his head that he doesn't have any trouble at all debasing himself the way he did, not once, but twice on national television. It's really sad. Let's take a look at Lindsey, shall we? Tell me about Lindsey, tell me about Lindsey, tell me about Lindsey Graham. Here we go. Okay. Okay, here we go. So this is the thing about him is he feels for a long time he felt that he was protected. and that he was safe. And that was part of the reason that he could sort of be outrageous, because he knew that there was sort of a ring of protection around him. And he was being given what he wished for, what he wanted, what was most important to him. And I suspect in some ways that has to do with being relevant, being part of that inner circle of the president. You know, that kind of sort of status symbolism, whatever, that he was looking for. What has been happening with his communication is that he is not able to communicate effectively anymore. He has been shown to be, a liar and deceitful. And sometimes what he says and does, just frankly, it just doesn't even make any sense anymore. Like he's almost becoming a little bit what you might call unhinged. He's got the Ten of Swords here. And this is what frightens him. And the thing is he just really feels as if, like, honestly, like the knives or the swords are out for him. He doesn't feel safe anywhere. He doesn't feel like he's in a place where there's a lot of fear, a great deal of fear around him. And what's happening is he feels as if things are careening out of control. Okay. I don't know, and you don't know, and nobody knows if he's going to be indicted out of Georgia with the Funny Wills thing, but it feels for him very frightening, in part because he has been watching as sort of the rug keeps getting pulled out under the feet of those people who are really trying to avoid justice, tell the truth. He really does feel like they're coming after him. He's really frightened. He is. He's just really frightened of being indicted. He's really frightened of things being exposed that he doesn't want to be exposed. Hangman. In some ways, he's made far too many sacrifices, self-sacrifices, in the name of power. Whether that is with Trump, whether that might possibly be, I don't know, from outside of the country, I don't know. But I'm just saying there's been too many sacrifices, and ultimately, that brings his end. It's going to be very, very, this is the thing with him, right? He thought he was protected because he was a senator, and really, who should be bothering him? He should do whatever he wants. He's entitled. He can talk to people in other states about, their election protocols, and he can say dumbass things, and he can get on TV absolutely begging for money. This is what the thing I've never understand is you got all those people who truly believe that Trump is an absolute billionaire, but yet every time you turn around, he's crying for money. I mean, you and I, who all live on probably close to fixed incomes or, a relatively reasonable budget, we're not protected. We're not special. And neither is he. But he was driven to get what he was driven to get. And that is ultimately going to be what brings him down. You know what? This is interesting, though. He's got the Six of Swords here. Now, I don't necessarily know that means he's leaving, but it feels very much like he's going to be trying to kind of get out of trouble. I don't know. I don't know. And, you know, and this is the problem, right? If he's not indicted, it's like approval, and it'll only get worse. We'll see. I don't know if what he did is an indictable offense, but he's angry, he's confused. There's a great deal of worry and stress. It's not worry, it's fear. It's confusion. It's on ways. He's so mentally twisted up by now. He really doesn't know how to find any clarity or any calm, because he's aware subconsciously on some other level that the tower is coming for him. And it has to do with being obliged to higher masters. Wow, that kind of sucks for Lindsey. Okay. What do we want to look at? Let's do one more quick mini and see what we can think about that we might want to. Okay, I recently did Trump. Um, his kids are spiraling out of control, except for Ivanka and Jared that are in, cover their butt modes, and doing whatever they need to do. She has really pulled away from her dad. And, she needs to protect her marriage, her husband, her kids. Or maybe she just figures that's where there's more money. She's going to have a very, very hard time extracting herself from the Trump name and the Trump scandals. Oops. Alrighty, so take a look at Jim Jordon, shall we? He's out there subpoenaing Alvin Bragg like there's no tomorrow. He's making such a himself. So, what do we think might be going on? I mean, we don't need to guess what's going on with him. Has been starving for relevancy and power, and he has finally gotten it. And so he is going to flaunt it and gloat and in your face all he can, because that's what he's about. Okay? But let's just take a quick look at Jim Jordan. Tell me about Jim Jordan. Tell me about Jim Jordan. Tell me about Jim Jordan. Okay. So where he's at right now is he's starting off with the moon. So there's stuff going on behind the scenes that we don't know about. There's also stuff that he's trying to extract from behind the scenes that frankly, I don't think it's going to be helpful to him. But he is absolutely determined. This is sort of um, the platform with which he is putting all of his focus and energy, right? This is the soapbox that he's decided to stand on. And he is going to continue to beat this drum until either no one's listening or the drum breaks, frankly, because he's not going to stop. He really does continue to see this as his way to glory. And what is so outrageous is every time they have the Republicans, anytime they have any of these hearings, they're getting absolutely humiliated by the political savvy and the intelligence of Democrats. And so every time a Republican opens his mouth in these committees, they're kind of making fools out of themselves. And the problem is, they're just so hell-bent and determined to do what they're going to do. And they don't realize that truly people don't care. They don't care if you expose Hunter Biden. They don't care if whatever. They don't think you should be going after Alvin Bragg. Keep your nose out of his business. But the more he's determined to expose others, the more he's going to find himself exposed, because his behavior and his actions are beyond the pale, absolutely beyond the pale. So at some point, he's almost going to be discounted. He's going to be made irrelevant simply by virtue of the nonsense that spews out of his mouth. His thoughts are becoming so focused on revenge and hate and anger. And there is a component here of covering and protecting himself. One wonders, curious, if that's part of why he wanted to be chairman of the committee that he's chairman of. Because then he would know or have insight as to what is being investigated, what charges are coming up, and he has a need to protect himself. You know, this is the sad thing. It's because he can't find the balance, because he just keeps on screaming like a lunatic. He's going to ultimately end up being very, very unsatisfied, because people are going to be incredibly unsatisfied with the job he has done as head of the Judiciary Committee. So even when he sort of offered, kind of something to extract his big fat foot, he doesn't take it, and he's not going to take it. He's going to pout and sulk because he is not getting the notoriety he wants. He hasn't figured out that in a very real way, he needs to find a balance and not look like every single thing he is doing is just flat out revenge. But he's not going to be capable of that. He's going to get so twisted up in this, so mixed up in this. Ultimately, it's not going to serve him. But for now, I have to tell you, it looks as if he is going to be able to continue to move forward and kind of clutch that power that he believes he has. It's not going to work ultimately, but it looks like for the next little while, before he's tossed out in the cold, we're going to have to put up with him a little bit. Yeah. Okay, well, so that's what I know. So again, thank you so very, very much for being here. Until next time, take care and be well. Bye-bye.